Strange no one's told you this about this AI human brain computer. Listen, what you're seeing is a nanorobot that's going to be linked into the network X that is quickly approaching. And this is for the survival of the species. So this is going to be highly important. So if you don't want to hear it, then get out of here. It doesn't matter at this point because most people don't hear it anyway. Like I said, I get tired of making these videos, but at the end of the day, I know that I have to do it when it comes down to the survival of everything that we know. Network X is globally something that's driving industry that is in the neuromorphic network. And what is a morphic field? It is the energy that surrounds our bodies. All of us have this around us, this force field. You can call it the sixth sense. But now this computer, this hybrid computer with human brains in it, is going to be using exactly that. Is going to be tapping into that field. And now we move into a phase of whether you want to survive this or you don't. And we got information on that here. But like I said, if you don't want this, you don't want this knowledge, you're scared easily, get out of here. This is for people who actually really are ready to prepare for this scenario, and you all should be. So let's tune this in, and we're all this community here connected in this crazy time. This is the strange thing that no one's told you about this hybrid brain supercomputer. If you're into the deep depths of the strangeness, then you need to listen to this, because of what this supercomputer is operating on changes everything. Now it fires up in 2024, and they're going to do it in April. It'll be operational, and they have named it Deep South's IBM, which obviously the Nazis had the IBM computers that did a lot of classification of society. But moving into this, what is this network operating on? It's called a neuromorphic network, and this computer will be linked to humans. It will be linked to the brain of humans through specific technology that's already been dispersed, that we will tell you, obviously, how to get rid of. Now, the thing is, we've moved into a new phase, and this is what this computer can do. And it says scientists are feeding AI with chunks of human brains, sort of. So we're talking hybrid freaking supercomputer robotoids. Freaking insane. And the neuromorphic network that we're going to talk about, look what it says. They have many brains. Scientists have created a mini brain and combined it with AI to make a hybrid computer that can recognize different people's voices. It's deeper than that, though. And it says researchers at Indiana University, Bloomington, and US have built brain-infused computers called BrainAware, following the first kind of its experiment. Now, this goes deeper than anybody probably went before, because now that this thing is going to go online, you got to ask the question, one, where do they get these brains from? And I looked into a potential idea that also they have something coming out that's a neuromorphic network as well. And the nanowires are neuromorphic networks. What's the difference between neural networks and neuromorphic? Let's look into it. However, unlike neuromorphic systems, neural nets do not have neurons that fire and send pulses to other nodes. Because this is not just a freaking computer, it's a brain inside of this computer. And whose brain? How many brains? That's the question. Well, it was a startup saying that, hey, you can preserve your brain, but it's 100% fatal in 2018. How many of those fatal brains may have been used in this machine? And they say, oh, well, we're just going to preserve it. You're probably going to die. But, hey, it's your choice if you want to do that. And that's literally them right there putting the brain on the freaking table. And they're saying we're going to preserve it and upload it. And the question is, if they've been feeding this machine a bunch of brains, what do you think it came from some humans in some failed science experiment? Please let me know that in the comment section, because that's what I'm thinking. Neuromorphic, what does it mean? The term is broadly used to mean technologies that are inspired by biology, specifically brains. But the rise of artificial intelligence, let's go into it here deeper right now for you. the neuromorphic technology that basically is operating with this technology. Let's read you into it just a little bit more. What does it say? It says technology could also pave the way for biocomputers that are capable of performing tasks that regular computers can't. The computer effectively consists of clumps of brain cells which have been grown in labs and called organoids. They are connected to an electronic chip from BrainAware and can learn and process and remember information according to the study. You know what? Let's just cut me off for a second right now. And the reason why is because I always visualize a day where people like us would stop this system from coming so that the future generations would have a chance. But I guess we didn't stop that. How many people would be willing to actually take down the system like this? How many people, and the fact is they're already shivering their boots. Bill Gates, the Epstein files coming out, everything, the hybrid supercomputer coming. So what I'm trying to say is big false flag scenarios obviously going to be coming. This setup for this computer thing is probably going to happen after the false flag, because that's in April 2024. They're obviously going to need a scenario big for whether it's the lockdown scenario, whether it's the whole, agenda that we're seeing right now play out. But they're afraid because former presidents will be named in these files. So later, the computer system is just going to be another network for the total control. So why didn't we make the real change that was necessary? I appreciate that super chat. And I'm going to get back into the whole aspect of the video, but it's just right now the insanity that looms at large is just people are so numb to reality. And I'm not numb. I'm still looking at reality just as well as a lot of you perceive it. And I'm thinking like, well, I guess we just want to go down that rabbit hole. Well, that rabbit hole of hell, just continue to keep playing this psychological game that, oh, well, now something good is going to happen. We're going to get the criminals. And then they play this whole card where they come after us and then change up our entire lives again. This is about the survival of the species. This is not some video game. This is not some of your player one. Okay. And if you ain't, you're an NPC. So I'm pretty sure that you're player one in your storyline. And so that means that action must be taken here in this reality. So let's get back to the video clip. Researchers say they hope the computer will plug gaps in the existing capabilities of AI, but they admit it's still in the early stages of exploration. So let's go into this deeper here. Since it's on a neuromorphic network, it's also the nanowires are on a neuromorphic network, which they disperse in the atmosphere, which they put in the food, because it's on graphene and stuff like that. And look what it says, neuromorphic nanowire networks. And so the thing is that they had to do that because this thing is in live time reading and analyzing like a human brain, and it's sending the cells, the juices inside of the computer from freaking humans. So now you have it analyzing not just networks where you would get on the internet and say, well, now they can, understand everything I'm kind of thinking. Sometimes I think something and it pop up. It's like right there on YouTube, it just pops up. So the nanowire networks links into this supercomputer, which was a DARPA experiment. And here is nanowires growing right here. What nanowires, they have copper ones, they have gold ones, and these nanowires have networks in them, and it says it remembers. And so the neuromorphic networks basically are the nanowires that is basically assembling inside of the humans right now as we speak. And we'll talk about ways to detox that here in just a second. But they look like some type of parasite when you look at them. And that's probably because they are some type of parasite, like a cybernetic parasite or something like that. So the next part of the neuromorphic networks we'll get to here in just a second is the DNA, which we talk about protecting DNA. DNA-based nanowires. So it makes sense why we need a so-called human hybrid AI computer, because we need it to be gonna cut me off again, because I don't see myself being taken out by a nanowire network or a DNA network. We're gonna get to the solutions here. Do you see yourself being taken out like that? Because it's like, oh, I thought we were gonna go out and actually actual physical fight, a spiritual fight, or something, like using energy with our minds or something, or picking up physical items, to fight back like they did in ancient times. I mean, what happened at this point? Because we're now moving down to that realm to where the singular mindset of a AI, which is not even an AI no more, is it's a bunch of brains from different people. Just think about that. Brains from different people inside a machine. In there. We're talking about synced. And the system is using little wires and organoids and feeding the juice into the brain of the computer system. Sick. And it could be adults, it could be kids, it could be all types of things because they're sick like that. And then they just continue to fear tactic other people into, hey, join along with the system, take the AI microchip, become an AI symbiote, join in, upload your brain. You're gonna die, but hey, it's all fine, all right? Haha, everybody's already half blown out of their mind insane anyway. Like I said, I get tired of the same old nonsense, but I'm resilient in my mind. My mindset is what keeps me doing this. I can be tired as heck of anything. I'm going to do it because I have to do it. I'm going to do it because there's a purpose behind it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put this information out because there is a message in the information. The message is the power that we have has to be activated within our minds, our spirits. We need to meditate. We need to pray. We need to, ground, get our energy back. We need to get the source of life back. Because when this thing actually starts to interact and it starts to move out through society, this computer system is really the next level of control that they really been seeking. Is the techno dystopia. It's the scientific dictatorship, because at the end of all of it, the government doesn't run anything anymore. And that's why they actually want all this, chaos, and for us to not trust them anymore. They want that because then the scientific technological dictators take over at the end. I've already studied the plan. I know the blueprint. I'm pretty sure a lot of you studied that too. Let's get back into the video clip. To interact with everything that they've already dispersed in our atmospheres, so they can then have this complex network that can kind of evolve within us, right? How a graphene nanowire sandwich is transforming. And they show all these little thin fiber layers. You see that? Somebody says they were already giving signs of humans on the movies like The Matrix, Altered Carbon, Black Mirror. Yeah, you're right. So moving into it even deeper, let's read you more of what they say about the scenario here, because we didn't read all of it. What does it say? The neuromorphic supercomputable, my bad. The neuromorphic supercomputable will be capable of 228 trillion synaptic operations per second, which is on par with the estimated number of operations in the human brain. So this International Center of Neuromorphic Systems is the system to ultimately not just calculate what you want to do or what you want to see or where you want to be at, or it's basically the human brain cells from multiple people that we don't know how they died or whatever. But I told you in that experiment that could have been one of the ways. And once this thing get out of control, they can't control it anymore. Another thing that is really significant, Network X is a neuromorphic network that global leaders had a meeting in October 2023, and they're going to have another meeting in October 2024 with Network X, which is combining 5G, 6G into a neuromorphic network. X, disease X, Network X. A lot of significances here. So what I'm telling you is, the further I dive into this information, the crazier it gets. Because this supercomputer basically was pre-positioned for a takeover agenda on the minds. But just because I'm telling you, it doesn't mean it's not solutions. And we're going to get to that pretty much a little bit later on here. So they're plotting not just to poison us every single day with all these different foods, but they've also plotted a takeover plan. And this, in the end game of it, not going to be able to control this super intelligent AI. And so, like, we get deeper and deeper. Like I said, I'm one of the deepest researchers probably on YouTube. A lot of you here know that. And if you think like you've seen the most strangest things ever, whenever I do live streams and not just videos, I get deeper down into what the scenario is. One time they did a simulation, and they were saying that the first ever simulation was predicting that humans would be extinct on Earth, right? Because they were saying that this AI simulated it based on a bullcrap climate model. And so the reason why they say that is because they say, oh, well, if you don't become part of the hybrid robot, then you'll be left behind. Let's read more about this. Artificial intelligence is starting to become a little less artificial by actually using chunks of the human brain to improve what it's capable of. Scientists have created a mini brain combined with AI to make a hybrid computer that recognizes voices. And obviously we said that. I just seen that was another part. Now, how would you not become a part of this process is the next question, because nobody wants to sit here and just be like, well, we're finna all just be hybrid simulated robot species, because that's not the way. Well, when you look on screen here, there's plenty of ways to detox graphene. And so all these different ways of how to do this stuff, you need to research deeply on your own. But these are the basic things that you pretty much need if you're trying to detox a lot of this stuff. Because at this point, you need to go back, pause that, get that list and use it. But the real question comes down to this. How important is your body to you? How important is your mind to you? Do you care if it's being taken over? Are you going to sit there and allow that to happen? That's the real question. Because if you no longer care about your body, your mind, and you just don't care about anything, this is the full takeover of consciousness at large. That's what they want. But trust me, I do not believe that they will take over consciousness at large, because I know it's the set amount of few of us out here that will not be taken over. The one that still has the desire, like you. Do you have desire in the chat box right now? If you don't have desire, I don't know why you're on this channel, because the whole point was that we build community around desire to function against the tyranny in society when we're outcasted. And that's what happened during 2020. And that's what's going to happen again and again and again and again and again until we actually come out of the bounds and curses of the chains put on us for years. We're here to break the cycles of our ancestors, break the cycles. We're here to break the cycles. So if you got cycles on you, you need to break the cycles. But the other thing that they're doing here is breakthrough. Artificial DNA opens door to designer proteins, which they got synthetic DNA, obviously, not just DNA nanorobots, but we're telling you, pine needles is going to become more important than ever. You know, the times might be crazy, but yeah, it's definitely times that's like not boring. It's not like you wake up saying like, well, there's no enemy and I'm so bored with the reality. Well, you might be bored, but I'm saying like the fight and the essence of the fight that we have, which is all a part of the game, right? It's just like you wouldn't exist without something dark, some dark force there. We wouldn't exist without the necessity to wake up and have the thriving urge to push back against something that wants us to be controlled. They've came out with some 6G antenna, which they're trying to say this is the world's first. And it's able to manipulate different parts of, let's read it here. It says the antenna, which they have named Microwave Universal Metasurface Antenna, is capable of dynamically, simultaneously, independently, and precisely manipulating all essential properties of electromagnetic waves through software control. So we're talking human waves as well. We're on electromagnetic field. Universal component of manipulating all fundamental wave properties is the holy grail, they say, for physicists and engineering. This is a big development for 6G wireless communications. The antenna unique capabilities in controlling and securing signals make it valuable for a wide range of applications where both sensing, gathering information, communication, transmitting data play important roles, because we're moving towards that grid that is no longer a normal grid. Because they said in the future, the grid, the energy grid, will run off the energy of you. Every last one of you here, including myself. And so that's why it's important to understand, like if you're even working out or exercising, just being close to a cell tower, you're absorbing more electromagnetic waves from that cell tower. And I look at most of these gyms and stores, they got the cell tower right there hitting them. But the 6G one is saying that it's a master at manipulation of energy. What does that mean? That means like even it's going to become more highly critically important for you to balance yourself in this world. You know, with the God-given abilities that you have, they want to take that from you. And the question is, are you going to let it happen? Are you just going to look at this video and say, man, yeah, just another video from JWTV, whatever, I'm going back to my normal reality? Well, when you look at this probably a year from now or 2 years from now, how valuable it could be if we take action now and we continue to clean our DNA with pine needles, we continue to do everything to detox the graphene, we continue to ground ourselves, because people are going to start getting really hyper aggravated and start acting really strange. And then it's going to be an opposite reality where people are going to get really linked and connected and synced in to the spirit and essence of God, you know, because this is where it's all going. It's only a split pattern that's going to happen here. Either you're going to go even further away or you're going to start getting more connected to what we're supposed to be. And that's what they wanted to do all along, get us disconnected. And so in this disconnected world, it's only a few of us who will be connected to the right thing that we need to be connected to. And on the spiritual level, all the fights against each other, all the fights about religion, all this stuff, it's going to become a process where when you see people being plugged in, when you see people body being taken over by a superhuman AI, then you'll realize how pathetic these fights are. And you'll realize how connected we really need to be and how we really need to gather together and actually start spiritually understanding our own selves in every single way. Because this is the final battle. This is a soul battle. You came here, you were birthed from somebody. Whatever the consequences was, you wanted to come here. And we're all here now. So now this is the final equation of anything that matters right now. Because if you let your body be taken over, you let your spirit be taken over, and then it becomes this large scenario where nobody is in control of anything. And that's not a reality that exists, because in our mind right now, we create a reality that exists where we are bringing ourselves back to the true power that we have. So this is a story here. Now, if you share this out right now, I guarantee you, if 100 of you or 200 of you, 300 of you keep sharing it, 400 of you keep sharing it, I guarantee you, you're going to be a part of the process of the activation of minds. Because what's more important than a spiritual battle? What's more important than an actual way to help with knowledge that helps people clear their bodies out? You know, we don't have time to wait on the algorithm, you know, and I think that's the big problem here. Like, I'm not waiting on an algorithm. I'm not waiting on YouTube to do the right thing. I'm just waiting on everybody here to do the right thing and get the messages out, because that's the only way we beat the system. But every single day we let the system beat us when we sit back and we say, you know what, let's ignore the message. Let's just move forward. And I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm just saying this is the process we deal with today. About 10, maybe 7 years ago, 6 years ago, messages would get out from this channel. Now it just sits there. And there's a reason for that. I already know I'm one of the top researchers here on YouTube. It doesn't matter if the content didn't get far or not. I just know that it's so critical. And if it just reaches that next level, it can spark the mind like that. It can make that change just that quick. And then I'll scour the channel, look for other information. And this is the community we're building right now. We're building this because we came here for a purpose. If I die, I look back and say, you know what? I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I had this experience with you. I'm glad you are real people who actually wanted to stand up against this stuff, because I couldn't exist with other people who don't want to stand against this. I'm appreciative of my woman. I mean, she's standing against it with me. We stood against it in 2020. I'm very appreciative of her. To meet her was the greatest thing that could happen to me, okay? And to have this experience with you is one of the greatest things that could happen, okay? So this is all something that together we have to coordinate in an effort to where our consciousness moves to the next level. And that's what this big battle is about. Growing, becoming better, loving, having the intelligence to endure, every single day understanding who you are and who you don't want to be, and becoming better and growing. That's the process we're facing right now. It's an internal, and then it's also an external battle. And we must continue to stay mentally healthy and strong and get away sometimes and say, you know what, all right, now I'm going to just relax and have some peace away from all this. Because I don't consume myself with this 100% of the time. Some people think like, oh, you're in fear all the time. It must suck to be you. That's not true. So Thank you all for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please get the message out as far as wide as you can. We'll have more information here on the left-hand side that most people haven't seen. It'll be after this video is over. Thank you all for your existence, for tuning in.